Yep, a bigot spits in the face of the cop, arresting him. No gunshots. This individual is, well, you'll see. Here it is.
If you spit on my officer again, we're going to add an additional charge. Do you understand that? Do you understand?
Police brutality! Shut up. Did you eat too much watermelon last night? Is that what it is?
The more you raise hell, the less we do for you. You're not going to see medical until we get you booked in.
Do you want me to tell you what?
On May 25th, 2022, officers responded to the local target in Athens, Georgia in reference to a disorderly man. He was yelling racial slurs to people inside. The longer the video goes, the worse he gets. You'll see what I mean.
10-4, I have contact. What's going on, my man?
I'm looking at the United States Navy vet. I'm looking for those little mobility scooters.
Okay. Hold on just a second, okay? Will you hold on?
Enforcement?
Yeah. Hold on just a second, okay? So, they're telling me that y'all had an incident in the back where you were being disorderly with people in the back of the store. No? Okay. What's your name, my man?
Hank Blair Wittenberg.
All right. His name is Hank, according to him. No independent verification. Put it up full mass here. I want to bring your attention to the respect that the officer provided Hank. Typically, we've seen incidents like this when an establishment will call the police. They would say someone is being violent, rude, they're trespassing, they're stealing, and the police come in like SWAT. This individual came in, sir. Can we talk? What's the issue? They have a conversation briefly. And I'm not saying he should have been anything other than a professional. I'm just saying I hope that more cops are professionals when it's a child being accosted because they may have committed an immature offense. A video from May 25th, 2022. The incident resurfaced on social media this week showing a white male unleashing a racist tirade against a Georgia Target store before being arrested for spitting on officers who were called to defuse the situation. The entire incident was captured on police body cam, which has gone viral on social media in recent days. The video starts out inside a Target store in Athens, Georgia, that's north of Atlanta, where an older male is wearing a red Georgia Bulldogs cap facing off with an officer with his arms folded. He identified himself as Hank, although no confirmation of his real name has been obtained. The cop behind the body cam identified himself as an officer with the Clarke County Police Department. But that's when the suspect tried to challenge his jurisdiction. Quote, "Sir, you don't work for the sheriff's department?" the man asked. "No, I work for the Clarke County Police Department," the officer replied. "There is such a thing?" the man asked skeptically, trying to say the store was in an uncooperated area where the officer's authority did not apply. Quote, "No, I have jurisdiction in all of Clarke County," though, the officer corrected him. We see immediately Hank is not the smartest guy. All right. So he doesn't understand that Clarke County Police has jurisdiction in Clarke County, Georgia. So this is what you're dealing with. He's being racist inside of the store. They have already asked him to leave. He did not. They called the police. Police arrived. Police, they're nice. They're talking to him. Hell, he probably would have avoided an offense. There's more. The cop behind the camera once again identified himself as Clarke County. After a beat, the man posed the question, quote, "Are you going to take me to jail?" To this, the officer explained that he was called to the store on a complaint that the man had been acting disorderly and targeting other customers with racial slurs. The man denied the charges by shaking his head no, then briefly told the officer a sob story about needing his medication from the pharmacy or else he would need to have his foot amputated. He then turned it back on the officer asking, quote, "Do you trust me?" After this, he said, United States Navy veteran. Don't you forget it. The officer remained really calm and said, okay, that's it. Officer's like, hey, you know, I'm not here to take you to jail, basically. I'm here to figure out what's going on. The guy gets aggressive with him again. Officer says, okay, all right. There's more. The older male then proceeded to list his military record and career achievements, attempting to impress the officer, but also insulting him by saying, you were probably in diapers, implying that the officer's, youth made him unqualified to question him. From there, he dismissively referred to the officer, no longer as officer, but as youngin', and followed up with a curt, are we done? The officer responded firmly, no, not yet. The man quickly followed up with, let me leave. The officer said, no, not yet. At that moment, the older gentleman extended both fists in front of him and said, take me to jail, signaling he was prepared to be handcuffed. Okay. Well, you may say, well, that escalated quickly. I mean, we were having a conversation, talking about your military background. You were calling the young officer youngin'. Then all of a sudden, you want to be taken to jail. Well, the officer obliged. Moments earlier, a second officer entered the scene, and the body cam footage switched to her perspective, capturing the older gentleman from behind. As he turned to face her, she greeted him with a simple hello, but he quickly showed he was in no mood for pleasantries, saying, hey, N-word, leaving the female cop stunned. Now remember, that's why they are at the store. He says he wasn't doing this. He turns around, sees a woman of color in uniform, and calls her the N-word. Leaving the female cop stunned, all she could do was say, oh, okay. The male officer cut in, let's not go there, okay? I mean, they're being really respectful here. They're trying to work with this guy. Let's not go there, okay? The older male grew even more defiant, repeating the racial slur, challenging the officer, saying, quote, if you don't like it, take me to jail. Take me to jail, bud, end quote. He turned back to the female cop asking, what are you going to do? And then called her the N-word again. The male officer warned the older gentleman. There's no arrest yet. There's no put your hands behind your back. Warned the man to calm down as the confrontation caused an embarrassing scene near the store's front entrance. Now, here's the thing. Do they have enough to arrest him at this point? Hell yeah. Yeah, they got enough to arrest him. This is disorderly conduct. They definitely have enough to arrest him and cite him for trespassing because he was already told to leave early and he's still there. So there's more. Quote, I need you to stop acting disorderly in public, please. That's an offense, by the way. I need you to stop acting disorderly in public, please, he said. That's when the female officer quietly suggested, she says, take him for disorderly. See, what just happened? She said, I got your N-word today. She had to say to the officer, let's go ahead and take him in for disorderly conduct. I mean, damn, Hank, we were trying to get there from the beginning. We finally got there. You got your wish. You're going to get your handcuffs now. There's more. I mean, this man is begging to go to jail. They don't want to take him. There's more. She says, let's take him in for disorderly because kids were in the store witnessing aggressive misconduct. However, the male officer still tried to give the old man another chance to straighten up his act. Are you going to stop? The officer asked, but the old man just shrugged as if unsure of what he'd do next. He brushed aside his offensive behavior, claiming He was only there to pick up his medication. He then turned back to the female officers and mouthed the N-word again, instead of saying it out loud. The male officer growing firmer, warning him again, you're going to go to jail if you keep playing games. Sir, it sounds like you're playing along with him. But the man defiantly mouthed the slur once more, and the next sound that followed was the unmistakable cranking of the handcuffs, tightening around his wrist. After the older gentleman was subdued, he began to resist the officer's grip, but could be heard hacking and spitting in the male officer's face. In response, the male officer, Mr. Officer Friendly, I will call him at this point, grabbed the back of his neck to prevent him from turning around and doing it again. This happened after the female officer walked away briefly to meet with the store managers to ask if they wanted to bar the unruly man from the store for good. You're going to be surprised at the answer in a moment. Back at the scene, the male officer told her, he just spit in my face, as he forcibly led the man out of the store. The old man kept repeating police brutality. Fed up, the male officer told the older man to shut up twice, then ordered him to sit down in the back of the squad car. Officer, I thought you all were bonding. You see, your colleague told you go ahead and arrest him about 5 insults ago, and you wanted to work with him. Now, where did that get you? He spit in your face. Before putting the gentleman in the back of the car, if you can call him that, the officer searched him. The female officer cautioned, quote, if you spit on my officer again, we're going to add additional charges. You understand that? Wait a minute, he should already have additional charges. The hell is going on in Athens, Georgia? All right, a store employee came forward outside to inform the man he would be banned from the store for how long? 2 years. 2 years. He can come back in 2 years. All right, 24 months. You can come back. The officers then snatched off the man's ball cap, placed a spit mask over his head. The male officer returned to his unit to wipe his face with hand sanitizer because of the saliva from the racist bigot. On the ride to jail, the older man can be heard taunting the female officer with racial slurs from the back seat, saying, quote, did you eat too much watermelon last night? Is that what it is? He remarked, drawing on a tired stereotype about Black people. The video then cuts to the county lockup, where jail staff can be heard yelling at the older gentleman after experiencing his uncooperative behavior. Quote, the more you raise hell, the less we're going to do for you. You're not going to get nothing until you get booked in, a Black correction officer shouted at the older gentleman as he was holding the cell, waving his finger. Quote, do you want me to pay you on watermelon? The old man asked, triggering another outburst from the correctional officer. But the video cuts away just as he was about to unleash his frustration on the suspect. All right. I need someone to help me understand. This man is pleading to be handcuffed. He's not saying, listen, please don't arrest me. I'm just having a bad day. All right, I said some things I probably should not have said. I'm going to get my medication to go home. No, he proceeds to engage in the same conduct that the store manager called the police for. And not only does he engage in the same conduct, he becomes disorderly with the very police and is still granted an opportunity to drive home. Sharon, this is one of those stories where the Black female who came up and said, let's lock him, let's take him in for disorderly. The colleague, not hearing it. And then he gets spat in the face. What say you?
You know, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm not proud of it. When I was about 13, I beat up a group of white children. I whooped some, you know what. I did it because I was babysitting, just at the park, local park, and one of them spit a hawker, landed on my Jordache jeans. So I beat him up. Okay, I had to lure him towards me, Dr. Richey, and pretend that it wasn't a big deal. And then I whooped that, you know what. And I remember screaming as they ran off, now go tell your mammy and your pappy, I'll be right here. I'm not proud of it. I don't condone violence. In this instance, the male officer who refused to take his colleagues' legal advice, as he's trained to do, I might, in fact, I might suspend him. I would do it because he's placing the public at risk by refusing, for some strange reason, to act. And therefore, he was assaulted. You spit on someone, Doc,
Yep.
you know this. Isn't that an assault? I don't
Absolutely.
understand it, except, well, I think I do. The black
Yeah.
officer was right, okay? Showed enormous restraint. But at this point, the restraint, it crossed into a threshold of allowing illegal activity.
Yes. And you cannot imagine if that's a black male or black female
Amen.
doing the same thing, that they get that same courtesy the same way. Just
Don't try it, Doc. Please
Yeah.
don't.
No,
You
not-
wouldn't dare, but I just make sure
Right.
people understand.
exactly. All right.